says, this post can't be shown on Instagram. But then when I go, into the ad creation, it has all, 15 different options available.
The only reason it wouldn't be shown on Instagram is if you have more than 1,500 characters in your actual primary text. If you don't, then you should be able to show on Instagram as long as your placement isn't outside of the ratios for Instagram itself. If it's like square, landscape, story format, then you're fine.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought that was a little weird. I didn't think anything was set up wrong there, but cool. Yeah, no, thank you very much. This was great.
Cool.
Yeah, if anyone else in the audience has any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll bring you up. But in the meantime, Chase, the way that I actually found you was through your YouTube channel, and I know that you are looking to grow that community as well, so feel free to plug that in. I think it's a very valuable resource for pretty much anyone that's advertising on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my name, Chase Chappell. If you click on my profile, the spelling's all there, so that way it's easier for you to type in.
For sure. Out of basically, because I do a lot of research in terms of finding proper educational creators on YouTube, and I will vouch for Chase in the sense that his content is literally straight to the point, no BS, composed of primarily consulting calls and audits of different ad accounts. So depending on what you're looking for, he probably has a video for that. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. All of the videos are essentially us working with other CMOs, marketing directors, marketing teams. Like we work with Wynn Casinos, we were working with Hot Ones, we were working with the largest record label in London. We work with Spotify, all of the marketing teams there. We actually post the videos and, are allowed to, we end up allowing them. And you're able to actually see those calls and see what we were talking about with their campaign specifically. So there's literally probably something anybody can relate to with your company. There's over 150 different companies we've worked with on YouTube, and there's thousands that we have compiled of recordings.
One thing that you'll find on this app, Chase, is that there is a very strong presence in the music community, or in the music industry specifically. So if you want to share any best practices for maybe additional streams or getting people to actually know you a little bit better when it comes to your music, feel free to drop some.
Oh, without a doubt. I just got off a call 2 hours ago with a company that is promoting Spotify playlists. They're managing the like Hot 50, the top pop in Spain and in the UK and in Australia. They manage the list, and their entire goal is to increase the streams on their artists. So that way they can actually get them to, the top one, the rising, and actually maintain that number one position, because it actually increases the ROI for them. And strictly through that, there's been a lot of times where there's apps, they're trying to find ways to be able to actually track the individuals or identify who they are when they actually follow the playlist or start to do the streams and increase it. But what we found was those apps are not entirely accurate, and they're actually very costly. So really what we've just narrowed down to is keeping the campaign simple with the link clicks, and really just focusing in on ensuring that we're targeting the Spotify audiences as a given. And then we actually consolidate the campaigns to focus on all of the countries that they're wanting to actually spread that out in. So if it's in the UK, if it's in Australia, Canada, the United States, we actually combine all of the countries into one single ad set. Because we're able to lower the CPMs dramatically doing so. For instance, if you were to just test targeting the United States versus the UK, you're going to find that the US is really high in CPMs, and the UK is even really high in CPMs. But if you combine the two, you're actually getting a lower CPM because the algorithm's opting to get the lowest cost. And if your audience pool is much larger, you're able to achieve that lower cost because there's less bids, because you're dealing with the bigger audience size. So the more countries that they're willing to go into, or that they're able to promote their artist in, or their playlist, or the goal that they're trying to achieve, the better. So we actually just consolidate down those countries into that, which actually allows us to get super low click-throughs, and actually grows their following and grows the actual streams. We've hit number one multiple times with their artists in multiple countries doing that. And really it's a strategy that's really just propelled a lot of their careers.
Very cool. For artists specifically, is there something that you might recommend if they're not taking them directly to Spotify and sort of like a link tree per se? Maybe they want to direct them to Apple Music or just give people the options. Is there a best practice for that?
So we haven't really done anything outside of, not that I can think of at the moment, outside of Spotify specifically. We've done deep linking with the apps and other apps in general, but specifically most of the artists we work with or most of the record labels or any companies that are really looking to push those avenues, it's really all leading back to Spotify, and then it kind of just trickles out from there.
Very cool.
Something that does specifically come to mind is we've tested sending them to a site where they're actually able to choose the platform they want. So it actually has the different apps. And we're capturing their information to build their back-end list. So that way they could actually push out releases there as well. The strategy wasn't as effective in terms of cost, but it also did have its benefit of you being able to actually build your personal email list on that side and actually gain access to being able to push that avenue and be able to direct them to whichever app they preferred if they didn't have one or the other. But overall, if you stick to really just one app and start to push that more, you're able to actually keep a much lower cost in that sense.
Gotcha. I have another sort of topic that maybe we can go on. Black Friday just passed, obviously, right? And there's this, obviously ad prices increased during Q4. Just more people are pushing out ads. Companies, especially the larger companies, are trying to bust out their ad budgets for the year, XYZ, right? What are some best practices for Q4, or how can you best put your business in a position to actually execute properly going into Q4 for next year per se?
Absolutely. Easily one of the most common things that people end up mentioning is that they're seeing high CPMs or their costs are rising right now. And I could list all the reasons why, but specifically the easiest way to actually lower those costs and keep them going down and to combat that is to actually get away from audience overlap and auction overlap. A lot of times individuals have so much audience overlap that it's actually hurting their bids. And it's really just their campaigns, the way they have them structured, that's actually preventing them from actually achieving a good cost per result. The easiest way to identify if you have those issues is if you go to your ad set level and hover over an ad set, you're actually going to see a tool that says inspect. Most people don't really know about this tool. If you click the inspect tool, it's actually going to pull up about 4 different graphs and charts, and it's going to show you the audience overlap between yourself, and it's going to tell you what percentage you have. And if your percentage is, even remotely over 5%, it's safe to assume that you're, raising your own cost. I mean, if you were to remove that 5% or more, it's going to reduce it right away. Another thing is it's going to tell you your auction competition overlap, and that's just you going up against another advertiser. So you might have a 100K marketing budget, a 50K marketing budget per month, or 10K, maybe even 3,000. If you have 20% auction competition overlap with another advertiser, it's likely they're spending more money and it's causing that overlap and you're not able to outbid them. They might have higher quality creative. It could be that's allowing them to reduce their bids and it's bidding you up. The quickest way to get around that is to expand your audience size. If your audiences aren't large enough, then you're really getting locked into a lot of these issues here. So the advertisers who see the biggest cost per result increase when Q4 comes around is whenever their campaigns usually have a lot of overlap, if there's a lot of auction competition happening. And to combat it, it's really just about getting bigger audiences and using fewer audiences and just increasing your spend on those.
For sure. I think there comes a point too that there's only so much that you can do with your actual targeting, obviously creating different audiences, whether it be custom or lookalike. So how important is creative and how important is your quality score and relevancy score as well?
I'd say creative is becoming a dominant factor, if not one of the most important pieces of Facebook ads these days. It used to be everybody would talk about targeting, but realistically, because there's so many advertisers being able to choose the exact same audiences as anybody else, and so many people are being turned on to Facebook these days and knowing that they need to be on the platform, it's causing a huge bid war. So it really just comes down to the creative, because the algorithm isn't, just like where it is with Google, where it's, highest bidder wins. It does take into account that the quality of the creative, the experience of how the user perceives that ad, really has a profound impact on the actual cost of what the result would be for you. So creative plays a huge role, and it's important to have multiple creatives and multiple creative formats, because you also have to take into account you pay a different price per placement. If you only have say a video ad that's rolling, you're going to likely pay a lot more than any other advertiser per result. It doesn't matter how well you communicate it in some cases, because if you're not able to show that video in enough placements, you're not going to be able to get the best result. And video only accounts for a certain percentage on Facebook, but if you have a video and image, you're getting way more reach, you're getting way more actual access to getting in front of individuals to get them to convert, and it'll lower your cost in that sense. And now that Facebook's really removed the text rule, where you don't have to worry about the 20% text anymore, you're allowed to actually communicate through your content and actually add text as well, even without having visuals. And that has a huge impact too, because now you can actually get more into your ad and get that across in a quicker way. So if you're not already utilizing, having text in your ads, that can help tremendously. So that's another thing that'll really help a lot of individuals, because you don't have to worry about rejections in that case anymore.
Yeah, I think scrapping the 20% rule is going to be really interesting, especially when it comes to like banner placements and whatnot. Since it's like a more confined area, and sometimes your original creative, if you're operating on like a small creative budget, and you have to do it yourself as well, really just supplying it or supplementing it with text for those smaller spaces, I think that could be a good move. Jeremy, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, just speaking of creative, love to hear your take on using this dynamic formats in creative. So using the catalog to create these ads.
It's great for retargeting. We wouldn't use dynamic for anything else outside of retargeting.
Gotcha. So I guess along those lines, in terms of placements, any view on using automatic placements versus manual placements?
Automatic, absolutely.
Yeah, even I've heard some of the horror stories with the audience network. You're not concerned about any of that?
Yeah, so with audience network, it's not as relevant anymore. But the thing is, if you're opting for purchase conversions, then there's really not too much to worry about, because if you go to breakdowns, which is right in the top right of your ads manager, if you click on breakdowns, there'll be a word that actually says like placements, and you can click on it and it'll break down which areas your ad was shown. And if you're doing for purchase conversions, what's really nice is that if the algorithm doesn't believe you can get a purchase on an audience network placement, then you'll actually see that you are using automatic placements, but your ad is being shown on anything outside of Facebook or Instagram, any of their products.
Gotcha.
But if you're using link clicks, it's very likely you would see that you're almost predominantly all your ads are being shown on the third-party network.
Interesting. Okay. And then I guess one more, moving along these boxes that you can click during ad setup, detailed targeting expansion. Any view there? Is that just when you need to increase the size of your audience? Is that a go-to?
If your audience size is less than 1 million, always select the detailed targeting expansion box.
Interesting.
There's going to come a time where you're scaling and your audience is doing well. And because it's a small, narrow audience and you really knew who to target, that's great. But the moment you start to max it out, if you don't cut that audience too soon or upload new creatives there, it's going to essentially start rising in cost. But if you have that detailed targeting expansion selected and it's under 1 million, it's going to actually start expanding outside of that, and you'll be able to maintain your costs without having to worry about it.
Gotcha. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I know there's some new faces in the audience as well, so if anyone wants to come up here, just feel free to raise your hand and we'd be happy to answer some questions.
Hi there. My name is Stacy, and I have a question about Facebook ads.
Awesome.
So I am right now. I don't know really what's happening, I guess, with my ads at all, but things that were converting really well and kind of like all of our SOPs and like what we've been doing just is no longer working. I found like some places where we were getting flagged for like COVID issues. And so I was able to kind of get that worked out, but I just don't know if there's like a resource or somewhere I should be looking to just try and figure out a new procedures or kind of why our old ones aren't working.
Got it. You're specifically referring to interest audiences and finding new ones?
Yes. Really, I would say everything that I've been doing on Facebook lately that has been working isn't anymore. So I feel like I need to like start over there. And then
Got it. Okay.
I guess work on from there.
Sure. I have a few questions for you. How many ads do you currently have in those audiences?
Currently 5 or 6 running. We used to be running a lot more, but since they haven't been converting, I've pulled back.
Okay. And specifically, what are you selling? Or what's your specific service?
So I work for a real estate team. So it's mostly our services as a realtor or property management. And then also our homes as well.
Got it. Okay. And what's the objective and goal y'all are trying to achieve?
So right now, we are killing it sales wise. And so I just need to get like how well we're doing. I just need to get that out there. And ideally we have a lot of, like instant home offer landing pages or guaranteed sale landing pages and just kind of driving people to those sites.
Awesome. And are you specifically referring to selling homes?
Yes, we sell homes. However, I feel like the most of the Facebook advertising that I do is more in acquiring the clients rather than like actually selling the real estate. We just do the real estate because it's pretty and that's what people like to see. But it's really what we're looking for our leads.
Gotcha. Okay. And what right now, what kind of ads are you specifically running? What is the creative?
So that's where I'm having a little bit of issues with deciding on the creative, but the creative that we have going out right now that hasn't been working, it's a lot of video ads, like from my boss, just straight to camera, a lot of video about our different offers and programs, just trying to drive people to the landing pages. So it's mostly video, and then anything that we do is photo is usually just like, these are the homes that we've sold. So it's not very organized because I'm changing everything. We were doing a lot of text on photos and things like that I just know won't convert. So right now I think that's what we're trying to do is figure out how to change the creative other than the videos that do convert really well. But then also just where I should be looking to keep on top of these changes.
Absolutely. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And specifically with that content that you're testing right now, and the audience in the sense of why would they want to actually end up working with y'all's group?
Yeah, so what I'm really trying to lean on is making it like a making my boss like an influencer. I feel like what I'm trying to lean on is her personality the most. So it's mostly through like the video and we would that she I like just making her be the expert in knowledge in this area.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, yeah. So I have a few examples for that then. I'm really glad that you gave me all those insights. That really helped. Thank you. With that, the story really has a big impact on the results as well. So specifically, if you have content of uh, your boss who is like the personality of the ads, if the actual ad copy isn't really telling a big story or actually covering like how it started or how they went from small to a medium sized, just really just talking about the background of it all, not even like talking about what the offer is and just having that on the actual page when they land there, you'll actually see a lot more conversions because of that, because it's a lot more human to human in that sense. And especially in a space like you being in real estate, it's really important to have that human to human connection. So that way individuals really want to work with y'all and actually have that relationship. And especially when we're talking to people and actually showing ads to individuals that are humans themselves, uh, telling those stories, it's really easy for people to relate to it. And it drives a lot more conversions in that sense, which really helps out.
I love to chime in I don't want to cut you off if you're still going.
No, please.
Okay, so for the real estate people that I know personally and have worked with, a strategy that works really well for them, because with housing ads, you're very limited as to what you can do on Facebook in terms of your targeting, right? If you're running a housing ad, they'll flag it, they'll deny it and tell you can only do zip codes. So a strategy that I definitely recommend you look into doing is educating your audience. So whether it's on the buying process, tips and tricks to make sure you're getting the best interest rates, or whatever inside knowledge that you all have from the perspective that's not common knowledge, use that to educate your potential customers, right? Create some freebies around that, and then that allows you to get them into your funnel, which I'm not sure if you all have one or not, but if you don't, I highly recommend setting up a funnel. Yeah, what works for real estate people is to get people in your funnel and do the converting in the email. Because of how limited Facebook is in terms of housing ads, that's one huge workaround that I know is working for a few of real estate people that I know. Is you educate them, provide them value and insight. It builds that know, like, and trust factor. And then once you get them in the email, now we're talking about, conversion opportunities, telling them about the offers that you have, having them book consultations and things like that. And in the process, you're nurturing them from stranger, right, to potential customer to hot lead,
Yeah. And I kind of have a question just along those lines, because all of our marketing has been so like, on our mega star agent, just, putting her out there. But unfortunately, she just doesn't have the time to record these like educational things that I've asked her and begged like 1,000 times to do. Would it be like disingenuous to kind of put those out in other ways, like, through text or photos? Because what we've been doing so much is trying to rely on getting her face to camera because it just works so well. But would it take away from the like intimacy portion if we didn't have her face to camera? Because like I have that information. I know I could, tell everybody how to buy a house. But do you think it would take away from it not having like the big face of the brand doing that?
You can make an infographic and slap her face on it. I mean, just for, basic high level. Now, for when it comes to video, I would just try really hard to set aside a specific time, either out of the month or the week, where you just sit her down and have her rattle off, have different shirts and stuff ready and have her rattle it off, and just record a bunch of content up front. But in terms of lead magnets, it doesn't necessarily have to be video. And then also, it could be from the aspect of her and her team, right? It doesn't necessarily have to stem directly from her. She's recording the video. Like if that's what the foundation of your entire campaign is, then yeah, you probably want to try to get, just urge her to record some videos, but if you can deviate from that in terms of lead magnets, or if she can do pre-recorded audio, you can do voiceovers over instructional videos where you're the one walking through what everything is, or you can make a video that matches whatever she explains in the audio. You just gotta get creative.
I love that idea of doing the audio, because I could then put a video to it. So that's great. Thank you both so much.
I have a question if Bianca doesn't have a question that she's prepared for.
I definitely have
Totally.
a question. I was just waiting for the go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. We can just kind of like do it in order if y'all want.
Perfect. Okay, so I actually am stuck at the gate. I just launched a Shopify store, and so I made a new Facebook business. Thank you. It's exciting to have that done, but I just made a new Facebook business account, a business manager, and so I am, have an all new everything. So on Shopify, I'm obviously trying to connect everything to Shopify, and my Facebook's connected, Instagram's connected, all of that. But when I go to the business manager to create business manager to start setting up ads, it's giving me a flag. You are temporarily blocked from creating a business manager by Facebook due to integrity policies. Please try again later or use an existing business manager. So I don't know what's going on, because I created the pixel. Like, I did everything on the Shopify end, I did everything on the Facebook end, but they're not playing nice with each other.
Totally. And have you seen a button that says request review?
I don't. Would that be on Facebook or on Shopify?
It would be inside of the Facebook Business Manager, wherever you're receiving the notification.
I'm receiving the notification inside Shopify, like on my under the sales channels. When I click Facebook under the sales channels in my admin.
Specifically, when you log into the Business Manager on Facebook, is that locked out though?
No.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's good news. So specifically on Shopify, it might be connected to a different business manager then. And in that case, you would just go into Shopify and you'd have to disconnect it and sign out of that account.
Yeah. So what happens when you create a Shopify and you connect Facebook to it, it creates a pixel for you by default. So if you set up a pixel on your own business manager, you may be just looking at a different ad account or a different pixel, because sometimes people set it up under their personal versus their business. And then, yes, just like Chase said, you can request a review. So if you log into your Facebook, if your ad account is indeed banned, you'll see a notification, like where your regular notifications pop up. It'll have like a little envelope saying that it's from Facebook, saying that your account has been banned, and you can request a review that way. But also, you can go to, facebook.com/business./help, I think. And just make sure you're logged into your ads manager, the account you created at business.facebook.com. And then there should be a get started button that allows you to navigate to get on live chat with them.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, wait. So where would that where's the first option you said? I say, am I going on Facebook pages, ads manager, or
you can either go to you can either go into like your regular Facebook account, or you can go to business.facebook.com, log into your business manager, and the alert will be in either one.
Now. Okay.
And then under the little bell.
And specifically, Bianca, if in your ads manager on Facebook, if you know that everything looks to be active and it's only reporting it in Shopify, then I'd simply just try to access through Shopify on that sales channel. That there should be an option either in the top right or the top left to allow you to log out or de-access that specific account that you connected there, because we've had people at our agency connect their accounts to a sales channel when they're setting it up for a client, and the client has to set it up from their side. So it's very easy for the wrong account to get connected. So that might be one of the issues that you're running into right now. And if it is, it's just a simple switch of the accounts.
Okay.
Yeah, try the IT approach. Turn it off and turn it on again.
Right. Put it in rice. Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
Totally.
What's going on, you guys? Good evening. I'm glad this room was started and the platform was able to give us opportunity to ask questions. I'm gonna try to form my question in a way that it can provide value to everybody else, so it doesn't feel like a one-on-one consulting session. So one of my favorite marketing strategies is influencer marketing, but I feel like I'm missing a lot of opportunity not tapping into the Facebook ads, the paid ads. So my question is, what are some strategies? Anybody who's in the speaker box who may have experience with this, what is you guys' experience with using some of the influencer content and repurposing it for Facebook ads? Like I have, if you go on my Instagram, I have videos of celebrities shouting out a specific product on their pages and on my page. Am I allowed to use that same content and use it as a Facebook ad and be able to target their followers? Is those things allowed? I know there's some red tape and lines on what you can do with other people's likeness and not. So I definitely want to know what insight that can be provided with that aspect of mine.
Specifically with, go ahead.
Yeah, specifically we're using repurposing cosigns, influencer brand ambassadors who are co-signing your product or your service on Instagram and using that same content as a Facebook ad on Facebook.
Totally. And are you getting approval from those influencers to do so?
I'm not doing anything right now, so I'm basically trying to work out what I need to do to move forward with this idea of mine.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So really just the key thing there is that if they end up promoting the product or service on their feed and you end up taking that image to actually start running it, as long as you just have approval from them, then you should end up being fine. Some of them sometimes will ask you to tag them in the ad. And essentially you can just have the copy on the first 3 lines. And then what you could do is have their tag on like the 4th or 5th line, which actually forces the individual to click to see more. So that way you actually continue to drive up the click-through rate for the actual action you're looking to achieve. And if somebody does want to see that, they can go to check for it. And if they don't want you to use it, then that's just something that you have to face in that situation. But they're more inclined to do so if they don't initially, than just asking them that you can have their actual tag in there on the ad, so that way you can run it. We're doing something with Tasha on the Bachelorette, where using the photo filters there and getting approval to do so, and targeting those audiences, which really drove up a good ROI because everybody knew that was a familiar face and they really liked her.
I can see that working out versus using my face to target people who don't know me versus using a familiar face. I think that's going to convert more.
Oh,
you can also tap into their audiences, Maddie.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And another thing you can do, and I forgot the exact name of the brand, but they're focused on mental health counseling services online. And I noticed their strategy, if you look all through their ad library, I'll try to remember it before I leave this room tonight. They have the ad coming directly from the influencer's ad account or Instagram account and have it as branded content. And you can create that when you go in to create your ad. You can say, is this branded content, and set it up that way. So you can make direct agreements with the influencers or celebrities that you're using to have it come from their account. So it's coming out of their mouth directly, but it has the accelerated push of your budget and your ad account.
Dang, Cody, stop stealing my points.
Yo, that's strong.
Stop it, Cody.
I was going to say something real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah, let Juliana talk. She's been trying to unmute.
Why you got to put me out like that? I was going to say I am doing the same thing. I'm doing exactly what you mentioned, Maddie. We, advertise with influencers. Actually, that's what we've always done when there was not a name for it, for influencer marketing when Instagram first started. That's how we advertise our products, strictly influencers. And then I started to realize that the prices are getting, started to get inflated and extremely high, and were not realistic anymore. The ROI was just garbage. And we went into Facebook marketing. Facebook marketing has been extremely frustrating, I would say that. But what we've been doing is we've been using the, videos that is our paid content created by that influencer, that celebrity, and then advertising them. In fact, we don't advertise anything on Facebook without the ones that the influencers, especially the celebrities on TV or whatever, have worked on. And we get a lot of great response, from those ads. So that's what we've been doing now. So at this point, it's almost like we're not even expecting their customers or their followers or fans to, bring as much return. We take that content, we use it to advertise on Facebook, CBO campaigns, and all kinds of other campaigns. And it's been crazy amazing, so I think you're totally well within especially if it's paid content, it is your content. So I would strongly suggest that you do that for sure.
Yeah,
And you're missing out
on
your money if you're advertising only with influencers.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Switch to Facebook straight up.
All the money that's being spent. Some of the campaigns I have is based on relationships, but I have situations where I'm paying almost 5 figures for an ambassador, and sometimes it doesn't perform as well as I want it to. But to be able to squeeze all the juice out the lemon by using that content on testimonials on a website landing page or Facebook ads, I'm really interested in it. I really haven't seen anybody doing it. I'm sure people are doing it, but I haven't seen it, and I haven't got data from people who are actually doing it. So I feel like I'm definitely going to be tapping into you, Ms. Juliana, to get some more details on how I can execute this at scale. Because if you go to my Instagram page, I literally have influencer after influencer after influencer talking about specific products. But now I really want to engage on the Facebook platform, ad platform.
Definitely recommend that you, since you said you have some that you're running just off of relationships alone, like people that rock with you, what you need to do is set up a post, right? Do that, even if it's not an ad, just set up a regular post and do the brand partnership so that they're tagged in the bio. And this goes for anybody on here who's doing any type of influencer marketing. If you pay somebody to put a post on their page, you need to make sure that they are tagging you as a brand partnership, because what that does is give you insight into the actual insights on the page. So you're not just in the dark like, oh, I hope I get a bunch of clicks. Like, no, when they add you as a brand partner, you can see the same thing when you click insights on your own profile, and it shows you like the number of clicks and actions taken from this post and all of that. You can see that even though it's on their page. And what I would say for you, Maddie, is to do that on your page with somebody who's cool with you just doing it as is. And when you rack up the numbers, take screenshots of the reach and how far it's getting, and use that to get your foot in the door talking to these people. Because it's like, yo, I did this collab with so and so and we got crazy reach on this, so not only is it benefit for me, us doing this collaboration, it's a benefit for you too, because you get this and you have the metrics to justify them saying, okay, I want to participate in this venture.
Right.
Yeah, and speaking of that, that's sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just co-signing. That's good information. I'm writing this down. So the reason why I brought this up is because I think influencer marketing is really fun and engaging to see somebody with influence promote your brand. So I want to bring up a topic that in this space in Gerardo and Chase's platform that will entice some of the people in that's in the audience, so they can be able to also have the opportunity to put this into action as well.
Shauna, I think that's a really good idea, but you know what? I guess maybe I've been cheating myself because I got the impression that Instagram's algorithm would reduce the reach because it's a sponsored, post, and then now they don't want people to be able to, see it so that you would advertise with Instagram. But in my own personal experience, influencer marketing is garbage. I have wasted too much money. I have cried. I have wasted a lot of goddamn freaking money on this thing. And as soon as I started to get into Facebook ads, man, it's been much, 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 much better. But I'll try that. I'll try what you mentioned. And we do need to talk more, please, because
it's so my experience, which is very little, because again, I felt like I already know how to run Facebook ads, so I know how to get money from that. So I never really looked into on what I paid, which was ridiculous in my so the most I ever paid for a post was $600, and it pained me to do but I got a return from it because I was intentional with what I posted, what the call to action was, and who I was talking to in that audience. Like I did my research ahead of time by reading through his comments, seeing what kind of people was in there, what they talking about, if my audience was indeed there. Because yeah, it's great to get in front of these people's following with all of these people, but in a room of 100 people, if only 5 of them really want your product, you know what I'm saying, and you paying to speak to each person, you talk to the whole room, you're going to spend $100. Versus if let me go to room B, this is where all my people at, you could spend that same $100 and get 100 people that rock with you. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a science. It's an art, really, because if their audience isn't your ideal customer, then you wasting your money,
Yeah, I mean, but when we're talking about $100,000 or $75,000 and $50,000, a lot of times these are people who you've already done your research. You have already, looked into their engagement. You have already done everything that you needed to do, and you have that impression that, oh yes. I mean, granted, we have had great result on a lot of people that we've worked with. I'm talking from the ranges of the Kardashians to all the other people that we know. I mean, I'm talking about when Instagram really, really started, right? And it was amazing. But then I'm talking recently, it's just been fraud. Like this is impossible. There's no way you cannot sell a few more items. You have like how many million followers do you have now? So I mean, I would just say everybody just watch out because it's really, it also depends on the market, I would say too, but it's a lot of them are garbage at this point. A lot of them.
No, I agree. If you could put your money into something, put it into Facebook ads, because that is a more trackable, like with the Facebook pixel and all of the data that is available to you in the ads dashboard, that you're better spending your money that way. But for smaller people who don't have the ad spend in the budget, like I ain't got no Kardashian clients, okay? I'm small potatoes compared to you. But I know for some people, that's the only way that they can get around, because they don't really have the money to invest in Facebook ads, that's a whole nother conversation, and that's a lie, because $5 a day budgets, that exists. But if you could put your money somewhere, put it in Facebook ads. Influence, if you got the reach like that and the funds like that to explore influencer, yeah. But it's like with the ROI on Facebook ads, when you do the correct targeting and setting up your ad copy, and you resonate, with your people and your images and all of that stuff is on point. And then that's not even getting past that's just the tip of the iceberg. We ain't even talking about retargeting and lookalike audiences and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So the money is definitely better spent on Facebook, but I'm not gonna knock influencer marketing because I know it's working for some people.
Yeah, you're Shauna. Based on you sounds like you're an expert in this field. I'm definitely trying to hire you. So I sent you a DM already. Appreciate Gerardo and Chase for giving us the platform. I'll take myself to the audience.
Yeah, I did have a quick question, which was why I came in here. Sorry, guys. So did anyone experience Facebook's craziness during the election? Because our ads during the election period, I would say maybe September, November, was absolutely just not, the returns were just not as great as they used to be. And then I think they've kind of changed back. Or is it just me?
No, yeah, absolutely. CPMs went up for a lot of ad accounts. I mean, it was widely reported, especially with the outage of all the ad accounts that happened for like a brief hour for everybody too. Even like, the silly mistakes on Facebook's part where, those things do affect results. Specifically with that, I mean, the elections and how much they're spending daily, anywhere between 10 million a day really does affect the cost, especially specifically in the US. Outside of the US, you might have not experienced much as an increase, but really to combat that, I mean, it's really just going to come down to making sure that you're reducing your overlap, reducing your auction competition, and having enough ads that are covering a lot of placements, so that way Facebook can show them to individuals on the platform and actually get a lot more results without you having to. If you're relying on one single creative like video, then you're limiting your placements automatically already, which will raise your cost. So you'll experience a much higher lift in, the CPMs in those cases.
And I'm sorry to backtrack a little bit, but Maddie, if you're still listening, I found the account that I was talking about. If you want to check out their ad library, it was BetterHelp. I get spammed with their ads all the time because I checked out their funnel one time, and their retargeting goes crazy. But they definitely do a lot of that strategy of using the influencers as the forefront and face of the ad through the ads manager. And I know if you want to look at another example of a company using influencers in their ads, that's not directly coming from the influencer, but is coming from the brand with the influencer's face, then I would look at Gleamin, Gleamin. They're like a face mask or skincare segmented company, and I know they use different influencers in their ads.
Just
Thank you,
wanted
man. I
to
appreciate
chime in
that.
there. But yeah, like a lot of people that I know that work heavily with influencers, like directly, a lot of them have just pivoted to paying the influencer for like a photo, and then don't even bother posting it, because the influencer, if they have millions of followers, will probably want like, anywhere between like 5 or like some of these people that are charging like 50 or something crazy like that. But then they just get them to take the photo for like 1,000 or something, and then they just use that photo to ad buy to their audience for way cheaper. And that's been going on for a while.
Yeah, I could tell. I know that for sure works. I know that works. That's why I just want to confirm if anybody was doing this. I'm really excited to know that there's people who already have tested this out and have experience in it. I'm
Because
excited.
you use influencers to make the content, and then you use the content to make the real like return on investment when you use it in, strategic placements.
Yes.
And I
Hey,
don't even do like commerce anymore, but I, know a lot of other people, and that's how they work.
Yeah. First and foremost, I want to say thanks for everyone putting this together. I guess my question kind of revolves around what Shauna mentioned about the science of Facebook ads. I mean, I've had some experience with Facebook ads in the past. It's kind of hit or miss. So I'm kind of guessing like I'm asking like in regards to like a good entry point. I just launched a Shopify store yesterday, matter of fact, and I wanted to actually start using Facebook sometime this week. But I didn't want to take the route that I usually take, where I just throw something up there and then see if it hits, and then do a retargeting ad afterwards. I know there's a lot of resources out there where folks who are so gurus and everything that kind of try to get you to use their method. I didn't know if there was a method that anyone on the stage would suggest.
You're specifically referring to when you're launching ads. What's the best method there?
Yeah.
To start identifying results.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So specifically there, I mean, realistically, what is going to be a good approach for you is to test different ad formats, but ensuring that the variations between the ads are highly different. So rather than just making small tweaks and adjustments and having different ads to test, have like a video creative with a different headline and different primary text than another ad that's a single image squared with short content with a really popping headline. So if you have really different ad creatives in that sense, you're going to cover a lot more ground to really identify what works without having to spend too much in the sense of testing a lot of ads with just a small few changes, because you can later get down to the nuts and bolts of really what's working after you do the hard variations in the beginning, which will cover a lot more ground for you.
Got you. Thank you.
Do you have a Facebook pixel on your site?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so as long as you got that on there right now, that's benefiting you because it's capturing all of that data and that traffic for those people who are visiting your site. So then when you do get set up to run ads, you can hit the ground running, But for sure, from I guess what I could say in terms of recommendations also, when it comes to running ads, my belief is that ads are going to amplify whatever you're doing organically, right? So if your organic is not in order yet, meaning, you haven't built that quality audience that's gonna, rock with you and buy from you soon as you drop the link, I would definitely pour some energy into that as well. Because if you don't know your audience, you don't know their language, you're not able to identify them, then when it comes to your ads, you're gonna still be wasting money. Even when you learn how to run ads well, you'll still be wasting money because you don't know who your people are. So definitely first major step in running ads, identify your tribe, your ideal customer, your customer avatar, whatever you want to call it, and start there, analyzing their demographics, their psychographics, where they at, where they shop, what they buy, all of that stuff. And that'll give you a really solid foundation to run your ads. That way you can, like I said, hit the ground running. But the fact that you got the pixel on your site already is putting you way ahead of everybody else.
Appreciate that. So,
Chase, real quick, I want Chase to plug in his YouTube channel again because I can't emphasize like how much value he actually has on there. So I know there are some new faces in here. So Chase, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Specifically on our channel, we have, if you were to visit it, it's my name, Chase Chappell. If you just click on my profile, you'd easily be able to just type it in there. That way it's easy. But on our channel, we do a lot of, we have a lot of recordings and consulting calls with a lot of companies like Wynn, Vegas casinos, Hot Ones. We work with London record companies. We work in over 23 different countries. We have videos on that you'd actually be able to see of, these actual companies asking their questions, and you can actually see exactly what campaigns they're running and how we're approaching improving the results. Ad accounts from spending $5 a daily to ad accounts spending $50,000 daily, doing 30 million a year. So there's literally a wide variety of content and hundreds of different companies you'd actually be able to see different content on.
hey, I appreciate that, Chase. I'm definitely following you, and I'll check out your content for sure. I mean, I guess I wanted to ask because I actually have an Instagram account that I've been building for the last 2 years, and I was going to use that as, as like a channel in a way to push the product. But that's Instagram. And I know, there's definitely a connection between Instagram and Facebook and so forth. Would that be a good strategy to use, to use the already seasoned Instagram channel to push, whatever product or apparel that I'm planning to launch?
Are you referring to limiting your placement there?
Yeah.
I would recommend against it, just keeping it on the automatic placements, because the algorithms specifically, depending on what result you're trying to achieve. For instance, if you do purchase conversions, lowest cost, the algorithm's going to be optimizing to achieve that result specifically for you. And if you limit it by the platform, you're automatically going to see a rise in your costs because you're already limiting your pool for where you can actually go after individuals. So it's best to actually allow it to stay on automatic because it's in your best interest for them to find those buyers for you. And so you'll actually be able to get a lot more conversions that way. And specifically, you might find if your audience is predominantly on Instagram, that's going to be great because you'll see that through your actual results. Like you might see 95% of your purchases coming from Instagram, even though you use automatic placements. And that just means that the algorithm is doing its job in targeting those individuals. But that other 5% could be the deciding factor that's actually lowering your cost per result by a couple of dollars, which makes a huge difference as you're actually scaling.
Got you.
To go off what like Chase is saying, what I realized in my results, like once you have data, I left like everything more open, like with placements, with ages, and all that, because like Facebook algorithm is really like it's powerful as fuck, and the more restriction that you put on it, like you make it work harder. Facebook algorithm will know how to pivot for your cause or whatever you're doing. And the more you put like stress on it, then you bring stress on it. So once your data is there and you've proven something and you got it going, I always leave everything open. And as long as my audience and my little taxes are in place,